Hey everybody, my name is Melissa. Welcome to Loving Yourself First. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys how I went from making $15 an hour as a CNA to now earning $60 an hour as a travel CNA. So this is my story. So in the beginning, when I wasn't a CNA, I went to school. I just was on Google. I was like, you know what? I want to become a CNA. At first, I was going to college and I was like, you know what? I want to become a nurse. And then life happened and I just started working. And somebody was like, oh, why don't you just become a CNA? I was like, okay, let me do that. You know, I can care for people because I really enjoy taking care of people. So I started out doing that, went to classes, got licensed and everything, and then I started working for a facility and then worked there, worked in a nursing home, got experience, I enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden I start seeing some people, that's what they call agency, people that work for the agency. So I was like, okay. So people from the agency started talking to me that was working at the same facility I was. And it was like, why don't you work for an agency? I was like, oh, how do I do that? It was like, yeah, there's plenty of agencies, apply for it. You will get paid way more money than you're getting paid now. And I was like, well, I'm getting paid $15. I was like, oh, I thought that was like great. It was like, no, we make about like $13 and not $13, the $1,300 a week. And I was just like, really? How? Like, oh, and then it was telling me that they was getting paid weekly. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It was like, yeah, sometimes you can work about like, get about $1,000 a week or up to $1,300 a week, or sometimes even $3,000. I'm like, really? How? So they told me how there was like apply for different agencies. I'll definitely link some agencies in another video to let you guys know. And so I went from there. So with me working at the nursing home for for 6 months, then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do this agency thing. We both doing the same job. I'm getting paid $15 and they getting paid like, I think it was like $22 an hour or whatever, and they was getting overtime because the facility was giving overtime. So I'm like, then we doing the same job and they getting paid more than me. I'm about to put my 2 weeks notice in. So I went ahead and put my put my 2 weeks notice in. And then before I did that, I went ahead and applied for an agency, and then I started working for an agency, and then I left the company. So after I did that, I went to another facility. So they send you to another facility, or you have the option of working for different facilities. So I went to this other facility. And then, you go to another facility, you start networking with people start talking. And someone was like, oh, why don't you try to they were talking about traveling. I was like, oh, become a travel CNA. It's like, oh, how do you do that? It was like, oh, you need to get license from different states. California's paying good, Texas, but they also take out some taxes too. It's better for you to go to the more I guess smaller states, or the states that's not going to take out that much taxes. So I was just like, oh, okay. They told me how to go about it, which I will let you guys know in another video. And I went ahead, got the license, reached out to the travel agencies. They started sending me contracts, and then I got prepared to go on a contract. I worked in different states that have plenty of license to work in different states. So when my coworker first told me about it, I was just like, I don't know about that traveling. Like I have 2 kids and I'm like, I don't know if I don't even get time to even do that. And she was like, no, some of them, you know, you can go ahead and travel with your kids and do homeschool, or put them in daycare or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't have small children, but whatever. So I'm like, wow, how can y'all just be away from your family and just traveling and doing all the stuff? But I'm like, there's people that actually do it. They either bring their kids with you, or you let your family watch your children for you. And you go in your traveling adventure and you work. There's contracts for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks. So I mostly go for like the 13 weeks assignments. And this one, well, I was working in Nebraska. I was working in Nebraska, and I got this one contract, and I was able to make $60 an hour. And I was kind of shocked, because I was like, is this real? You know, and it actually was real, and I made so much money per week, and I was excited, and I was just like, oh my God, I gotta tell somebody else. So I was like, you know what, let me go make a video to tell you guys how I went from making $15 an hour to $60 an hour. But in my next video, I will definitely let you guys know how to become a travel CNA. If you're not a CNA, how to go from being a CNA first to a travel CNA, the things you need, the license you need, how to go about it. I will let you guys know in my next video. But thank you so much for listening to my story about how I went from making $15 an hour to $60 an hour. Thank you. And then it does vary in different states depending on your contract. But thank you guys so much. Remember, love yourself, and I love you too. Bye.